are exchange rates going? The fundamentals are weakening. No matter how long the CBN wants to defend exchange rates, ultimately it will give, and there will be currency depreciation. It's the timing that we don't know. If we knew the timing, we'll all make tons of money. Then, interest rates, what are they likely to be? This year alone, up to the end of this third quarter of this year, incremental borrowing by the federal government of Nigeria in domestic currency has been 1 trillion naira. The pace of debt accumulation is frightening. And whether we like it or not, government is going to spend more than they earn again next year, creating additional debt, largely in domestic currency, and likely to push up domestic interest rates. What are the implications for my business? Then, the fact that government is going to borrow more money is going to crowd out. What will it be in terms of my ability to raise debt financing if I want to raise debt to finance my business? And then the demand for goods and services. Government is going to spend more and it's going to help us drive up demand for goods and services. Then let's come to the role of central bank. Let's understand some things that the central bank has done. One principal thing that the central bank has done with respect to AMCON is that AMCON issued 3.6 trillion. No, 5.6, I beg your pardon. 5.6 trillion worth of bonds. Alright, okay? These bonds are non-interest bearing, zero coupon they call them. Tenor, 3-5 years, don't pay 1 kobo of interest until maturity. They gave these bonds to the banks. The banks realize that this, even though I'm classifying it as a liquid asset, not 1 kobo of cash is going to come from this until it matures. What have they done? They have given 2.5 trillion of some of these bonds to the central bank, and the central bank gave them treasury bills in return. What does this mean in English language? It means that the Central Bank of Nigeria has taken non-interest, non-cash bonds, and they have replaced it with bonds that pay interest every 90 days. Isn't it? Cash is leaving the CBN every 90 days. So the CBN itself is in dire straits, if I will use those words, in terms of financial condition. Those who understand the balance sheet of the CBN should take a good look at it. So their capacity to do jack or kill may be significantly impaired. So it's unlikely that we can look up to CBN to do things. So they will continue to show up liquidity as well. So I agree that there's a possibility that cash reserve requirements will go up, not for government deposits alone, but deposits in general as well. Further squeezing liquidity, further pushing up interest rates. Those are the kinds of things we're likely to see in 2014. And what we should be thinking of as business people, how will I respond? How will we respond? How will our businesses respond to these challenges? Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah, I take a quick stab at each of the points as well. Shale oil. Well, until gas become a major way of moving vehicles, I do not think shale gas is going to pose any real threat to crude oil. As long as vehicles still largely have to be moved by derivatives, products made from oil will not be threatened. Then the second fact is that recent, forecasts suggest that the threat of shale gas is not going to go much beyond 2020. By mid-2020s, the production of US shale gas will decline. So you need significant technological change to make shale gas a threat until cars run primarily on shale gas is not a threat. When the shale gas itself is not going to live that long, you need about 10 years for this technology. So I think the threat of shale gas is not real, it's apparent. Crop production, we've suggested that in spite of the stories we hear about crops doing great, crops are in fact been decelerating. And I want to suggest that as far as trying to boost the crop sector in Nigeria is concerned, it's not different from any other sector. You have to think competitiveness in crop production. As long as transportation costs remain high, don't expect any significant acceleration in crops. We're doing a lot on inputs and stuff, but much of the output wastes in the course of trying to move them from the farm to the markets. Rail transportation will boost crop production, just like it will boost industry. It will boost real estate, it will boost cities growth, regions growth. QE. I do not think that the United States will be able to start cutting down its quantitative easing until the global liquidity situation is really easy, that you can withdraw it without rocking the boat. QE became necessary because of tight global liquidity conditions. The liquidity situations have improved considerably over the last year and a half. Boat is not rocked, it's likely to continue to improve. I guess when liquidity is sufficiently surplus that the US can cut down its injections and withdraw it without any trouble, they will do it. So I think I share Mr. Agusto's concern that I do not think that what the US is going to do about liquidity is a big threat to the outlook. Then the story of commodity prices, I think we should also, in trying to assess the outlook of the economy, take a fairly medium-term view, rather than what's going to happen next month or just what's going to happen next year. There's no contradiction in it's predicted that commodities. I'm not talking about oil price alone. I'm talking about commodity prices in general. And if oil price weakens next year and it strengthens the following year, it's still oscillating around a flat line. I did mention the fact of oscillation. So today, down tomorrow. But what matters for economic is the trend beyond a single period. Role of CBN. He asked the question, what should it be?